Welcome back gamers to another review. Today we're diving into Yars Rising, a retro-inspired game developed by WayForward that attempts to blend the modern Metroidvania sensibilities with the timeless spirit of Atari's 1982's classic Yars Revenge. This new game had a lot of potential, mixing the quirky charm of the original with WayForward's expertise in crafting platformers, but in the end, it struggled to find the right balance between its retro roots and modern aspirations. So let's dive in. In Yars Rising, you play as Emi Kimura, a hacker caught in a bizarre situation involving her day job at Kotek. After a mission goes wrong, Emi finds herself wrapped up in an intergalactic conflict, and with new powers and responsibilities that thrust her into the role of an unlikely hero. The game's narrative starts off with potential, introducing a bubblegum-colored cyberpunk world with playful anime-style visuals and quirky humor. However, the further you progress, the more you realize how the story never takes itself seriously as it should, and you come to find that there's a lot of snarky one-liners, shallow expositions, and melodrama that never quite hit the emotional marks it aimed for. One example that stands out for me is when Emi, realizing her transformation, nonchalantly exclaims, "I found this huge rainbow-colored console that rewrote my DNA, I guess? And now my hand shoots energy waves." This tone pervades much of the story, and while it may entertain some, it ultimately prevents the game from delivering any real stakes and emotional depth. The game's plot is serviceable, but it often feels like it's simply there just to justify the action and references to the Atari's past. At its best, it's a fun throwback to the campy experimental tone of the 80s sci-fi games, but at its worst, it's a missed opportunity to give players a deeper, more engaging experience. Now, let's talk about the gameplay. This is where the game really feels like two entirely different games collabed together. As on one side, you got the hacking minigame, which is easily the standout feature. These sections take core mechanics from the original Yars Revenge, shooting and nibbling at enemy defense to charge your Saur-Long cannon, and inject them with fresh creativity. And the minigames range from the basic dodging and shooting sequences to puzzle-like challenges that play homage to other Atari classics like Centipede and Missile Command, and it's these moments where Yars Rising truly shines, as the fast-paced action and unique mechanics capture the chaotic, weird energy of retro games in a way that's both exciting and unpredictable. And the hacking challenges are constantly evolving, with new twists and obstacles introduced at a steady pace. You'll often find yourself navigating high contrast levels that make it difficult to track incoming missiles, collecting keys to unlock enemy defenses, and even dealing with psychedelic rainbow-colored zones, which require precise timing to survive. All of these things keep the minigames feeling fresh throughout the game's runtime, and it's great that they become progressively more difficult in ways that feel fair yet challenging. However, the rest of the game, namely the Metroidvania platforming sections, falls far short of these heights. That platforming in the game is sluggish, with clunky controls that often lead to frustrating moments rather than justifying ones. The game recycles standard Metroidvania mechanics like wall jumps, aerial dashes, and basic commands, but none of these elements are particularly innovative or exciting. And worse yet, the lack of tight controls makes even these familiar mechanics feel imprecise and unwieldy, and these platforming sections rarely introduce new challenges or mechanics, making them feel like filler content between the more interesting hacking minigames. The combat too feels like an afterthought. The enemies are mostly simple robots or aliens that don't push much of a fight, and the game's combat mechanics themselves are overly simplistic. There's little sense of progression or excitement in these battles. And after a few encounters, it becomes clear that the developers didn't nearly put as much effort into these sections as they did with the hacking sequences. But if there's one thing that Yars Rising does undeniably well, it's capturing the aesthetic charm that WayForward is well known for, as the game visuals are a love letter to both the 90s anime and classic Saturday morning cartoons, with bright colorful characters and environments that pop off the screen. Emi and her team of hackers are well designed, with fun and over-the-top animations that lend a sense of personality to the game. As the Yars-inspired story unfolds, the visuals shift towards a more alien surreal aesthetic, which helps distinguish the hacking sequences from the earthbound platforming. But as visually appealing as Yars Rising can be, the environments themselves quickly grow repetitive. You'll spend a lot of time navigating similar-looking corridors, hacking into identical consoles, and fighting the same enemies. While the art style itself is charming, the lack of variety and level design starts to wear thin as the game progresses. On the music front, the game fares better. The soundtrack is an eclectic mix of synth-heavy, pop-inspired tracks that fit the game's retro-futuristic vibe perfectly, and the in-game earbud feature, which is voice tracking, highlights the importance the developers place onto the music, and it's one of the game's most enjoyable features. In my opinion, Yars Rising is a game that will appeal to two groups of people: die-hard fans of Atari's Yars Revenge, and those who enjoy quirky, retro-inspired games with an emphasis on nostalgia. So if you fall into one of these camps, then you'll likely find some enjoyment in this game's creative hacking minigames and charming visuals. For me, the game is a 6.2 out of 10. It's a decent outing that I can only recommend to fans of Atari and the Metroidvania genre. So if you're someone looking for something groundbreaking or polished, then you might want to look somewhere else, as unfortunately, the game is just okay. If you've played the game, did you like it? Would you recommend it? Let us know in the comments. Thank you for watching till the end. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a great day.